Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Freelance Success Framework podcast series. Hello, Kate.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, so what we are talking about today, if you've been with us through all of this, you may be thinking, this freelancing thing sounds like a pretty good deal. And believe us, it is. But maybe you're wondering if freelancing is a good choice for you in particular. So we're going to dive in a little bit into that today, offer up what insight we can so that you can make the best decision for yourself. So first point to start with, or at least the first point I think I would like to start with, is the idea of it doesn't have to be a major commitment. Remember that part of you have a lot of flexibility in freelancing, and that's flexibility in terms of how you do it, when you want to do all that kind of stuff. We've been over it a ton in the series, but it doesn't mean that if you decide that you want to freelance, you're not making the commitment that you will become a full-time freelancer. You're also not even necessarily making the commitment that you're going to, if you're going to be part-time, that you're going to perpetually have a client. It's all that you're doing is equipping yourself with the skills and the strategy and the knowledge to be able to freelance when you want to, which, if you ask me, is a really important thing to be able to do, a very important thing to have in your back pocket for, again, if something should go south at your company. God forbid if you get let go from your full-time job, God forbid. Or even just as we were saying, if something changes, if you're taking on new stuff and you don't want to do it, or you get a new boss and you don't like your new boss, or any number of those things, or things change and you want to be able to walk away, knowing how to freelance means that you can do it. And I would, to keep yourself fresh, I would probably say, if it's not a priority for you, maybe aim to take a client a month. If earning more money part-time is a priority for you, then yeah, I would take more clients than that. But again, you get to figure out what works for you. So if you decide, I'm going to build up a freelance business, that can look the way you want it to look. It doesn't mean like, I'm going to build up a freelance business, therefore I must be full-time freelance, or I have to become full-time freelance by XYZ date, or if I'm part-time, I have to take this many clients. It's not at all what it is about. You get to choose. So don't think that choosing to be freelance, or choosing to become freelance, or choosing to build a freelance business has to be anybody else's prescription of what that looks like but you. It does not have to be a major commitment if you don't want it to be.
Yeah, for as many freelancers as there are in this world, there's as many that many number of ways to do it in terms of reasons why people are doing it, or how much or how little they're doing of it. Because it is so flexible, which is my number one point of why I love freelancing so much, the flexibility and the control. So if you're someone who, again, wants that freedom to not be beholden to a job, maybe that is the reason, or you want more safety, but maybe you just want more flexibility to work when and where you want, to be able to say, yeah, I'm going to work after I put my kids to bed, or the first thing in the morning, because that's when I'm fresh, or on my lunch breaks is when I'm going to put in time, or whatever it is. Or I want to save up just for a vacation this year. That's how much work I'm going to take on. And once I do that, then maybe I'll take on some more and we'll save up for the next vacation. It doesn't have to be, your reason can change, I guess is all that's to say. Maybe it's a vacation and that's why you're taking on more clients. And now we want to put a down payment on a house, or saving for a kid's college fund, or whatever it is. There's just so many reasons. So that flexibility to do it in all of these different ways, to have that control of how you do and how you spend your time. Yes, I show up to client meetings, but I'm working with my client to determine that client meeting time. I don't just, they don't say 12 p.m. and I'm like, oh shoot, now I have to work things and be there. We can work that out. So yes, there's a commitment, I guess, but there's not.
When you take a client, there's a commitment.
Yeah,
you got to do that work.
Yes, but there's not you can say no, and you can you can, again, work out your schedule of what works for you if there are meetings that you need to take. So that flexibility if that's something you like, then it might be something, freelancing might be.
Mhm.
Explore what that means to you, I guess is all that's
Yeah.
to say, and figure out your reason for what you want and why you want it, and how freelancing or a full-time job fits into that, and at what level for each of them. Is it 90% full-time job, 10% freelancing, or whatever? What does that look like for you and your specific situation?
Exactly. Well, and two, if you're listening to this and you're going, okay, I'm sold on freelancing. Freelancing as a concept is great. I'm just not sure I can, and I want to do it. I'm not sure I can do it.
Mm.
I know we definitely hear that sometimes, like, yes, but what if I can't do it? What if freelancing is great for everybody else, but I can't do it? The great thing is there's nothing like the important thing, not the important thing, but the skill factor is what you're already bringing to the table, right? It's whatever you're going to freelance in. If you're a Pinterest ads manager, if you're a bookkeeper, if you're search engine marketing, if you are corporate events planning, that skill factor is something you already know how to do. So you're bringing that to the table. All the rest of it is just following steps. If you can follow steps, you can do this. We will give you the steps to put together your website. We'll give you the steps to do what you need to do to set yourself apart. We'll give you the steps to put together your pitch emails. We'll give you the steps to find the clients. It's nothing. I don't want to say it's nothing creative, because there can be some creativity in there, but I want to say there's nothing mystical about it. There's
no mystery. Yeah.
There's no mystery. There's no like, oh, but then what happens here? What happens when I talk to my client or here? Or what happens and I don't know how to do that yet? Well, of course you don't know how to do it. You haven't started freelancing. Nobody was born knowing how to freelance. But so we teach you how to do all of that. Well, I don't know what happens if a client says XYZ, or what happens if a client changes their mind in the middle of a project. Absolutely, it happens. So we'll teach you exactly what to say and how to deal with it. And we'll talk about this more in the next episode, but you have support. If you follow the steps and then ask questions when something comes up that you're not quite sure how to deal with it, you can do it. You're following a roadmap. And the tricky, quote unquote, the trickiest thing, the hardest thing is the thing that you already know how to do. That skill that you're bringing in that you're going to be selling to people. You already know how to do that. You're already a pro at whatever it is that you're offering as your service. All the rest of it is just following steps. If you can follow steps, then you can absolutely be a successful freelancer. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So you might be thinking then, how is it possible that there's the same system or the same framework to build your bookkeeping business or your graphic design business or as a Pinterest ads manager? How is this possible?
How is this
what
possible?
magic is this?
It's not magic. No. Well, that's the thing is the difference is the service. But the way that you reach out to clients, that doesn't need to be different. The way that you pitch clients and the way that you provide value in those emails, that doesn't need to be different. The way that you figure out your rate, yes, the rate itself is going to differ based on the service that you provide, and the elements that you factor into that rate are going to differ based on the elements that the parts of the service that you provide. Absolutely. But the way that you figure out those rates, that's consistent across industries. And the way that you send through your proposal, that's consistent. And the way that you ask questions of clients on that discovery call to find out what this project could look like, and the way that you get the information to actually execute on the project in the input call, that's consistent. It's all the systems that your freelancing career is built on. That can be the same from industry to industry, no matter what you are offering. It's what you're offering that is going to be different, right? It's your what was I saying earlier? Pinterest management, I feel like I always use the same 4 examples. Please do not feel limited by those same 4 examples. Just what happens to be top of mind. But the services that you offer are going to be different. But the framework that supports that is going to be the same from industry to industry. It's a corporate events person doesn't need to have a different type of input call than a bookkeeper. They need to ask different kinds of questions, but the fundamental elements of what the project are going to be, how they figure what is the purpose of the project, what are the deliverables, what is the timeline, what is the expectation of here, we have all kinds of different, we have all kinds of documents for you to refer to as you're getting on these calls. So it's not like you have to memorize these before you get on calls with clients, but the input, the basic fundamental questions are going to be the same. And then you, because you know your industry, will layer onto that. You will ask the fundamental questions, and you, being a bookkeeper with your expertise in bookkeeping, will be able to ask the additional questions. And as a Pinterest manager, you'll be able to ask the additional questions. But and like I said, the same thing with coming up with your prices. Yeah, the prices themselves and what you factor into that project price is going to be different depending on the industry, but how you come up with that project price, how you invoice, how you track how you pitch, how you track your pitches, how you do all of that kind of stuff, that is going to be the same from industry to industry. There's no reason for it to be different. It doesn't have to be, and I would even argue that it shouldn't be, because we have a system proven that works.
Yeah,
it
works. Don't fix it.
System. It's time tested, and it's scalable. It's not just, it only works if you want your business to be this big. If you want your business to, you just keep doing the same things, but you do more of them. It just works. And I hope that makes sense as to how it's the framework is the same. It's what you deliver that is what makes your business different from other industries, but the framework is the same.
Yeah, you're bringing the input of whatever it is that you do and your skill set and experience in that field and putting it into this framework.
Yeah, it's just like we were saying earlier, you follow the steps. It's the framework is the same, and you follow. I guess you wouldn't follow steps on framework. You see what I'm saying, though.
A ladder.
The map is the same to get to the destination. The ladder, you climb up the steps on the ladder.
Or the stairs down. If instead of, as we said with the metaphor of, you don't jump off a cliff and hope the net appears, you want to walk down the cliff. So these are the stairs down to the cool freelance pool, if you will.
The oasis at the bottom of
the oasis.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, but it's not. I know that there's so many people who've struggled with freelancing, and this kind of goes back, frankly, to the very beginning of the series. But I know there's so many people who struggle with freelancing or think about freelancing, and they think, well, yeah, but how does that actually even happen? How does it happen that you put together a career? How does it? I don't know how to do it. Again, nobody's born knowing how to freelance. Nobody's born knowing how to speak French, even the French. Nobody's born knowing how to rollerblade. And don't ask me why that came into mind. You have to learn, but you can learn. And then once you know what steps you have to take, you take the steps. And if you get tripped up at all, or if you come across something you're not sure what to deal with, then you ask and you get a little bit of help. Mm-hmm. Great. But it's not. I think sometimes because freelancing sounds like such a wonderful option, and it is. I do not want to undersell this.
It feels too good to be true to some people, I think.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I think because it feels too good to be true, people want to be like, no, there's got to be some catch. There's got to be some way that it's no. People say it's hard, and therefore it must be hard. Yeah, it's hard if you don't know how to do it.
But if you don't follow steps too, if you don't want to follow steps and you don't want to take action, then it's not for you. But then I would argue you're not going to go far in your actual employment either. If you just don't want to learn and you don't want to grow, if you don't want to do anything, then that's a different conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Then we cannot help you with this podcast anyway. But if this is something that you feel called to, it's not that it doesn't take a special kind of person. Only a special kind of person can do this, or only a person who's willing to take the risk. Because again, it's when you follow the path, it's not risky. It's
intentional.
It's intentional. Please understand that this is an option. If it's something you want, if it's not, if you listen to all of this and you think, nah, you know what, I don't want to do it. It's not my jam. That's not my jam. I don't want to do it. Fine. Then right? But if you're feeling called to this, I would just, and this is between you and you, but if you're feeling called to this, I would explore what is making you feel nervous about it, what is holding you back. As we talk with our students a lot, that feeling will come up when you are moving outside of your comfort zone. As you start to get excited about something, but then you also start to get nervous too, and you go, oh, maybe this isn't such a good idea. That feeling it's part of how our brains are built, but that feeling will always come up anytime you move outside of your comfort zone. But all of the best things in life are outside of the comfort zone, outside of our comfort zones. Everything, a new career, more flexibility, more money, a new relationship, a new stage of growth in your life. Every good thing in life is outside. Having kids, everything is outside of our comfort zone. So if you're starting to feel a little bit like, oh, I'm excited, but I'm a little nervous, good. It just means that you're starting to move outside of your comfort zone. It's a natural feeling. You will feel it at some point. It's a good thing to move outside of your comfort zone. It's not a sign that you're not meant to do this. It is a natural feeling that will come up every time you are exploring growth. So that's what I have to offer for you mindset wise. And actually we do, I would say, much more mindset stuff than I had initially realized as we started to dig into teaching our freelance students. But it's important. It's important to understand this and understand how we operate. But I can promise you that if this is something that you feel called to do, that if you can follow steps, it's possible for you. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to wrap up this episode and we have one more. So when you're ready, catch us over in that last episode. Bye, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us on this special Freelance Success Framework video series. If you found us through our free on-demand video training, then you already know 3 of the biggest secrets for building a dependable and scalable freelance business, and you are well on your way to success. If you haven't seen our free video training yet, be sure to check it out at freelancesuccesstraining.com. We'll see you there.